What's up, y'all? I'm Javar. This is DUSAFARMS. In this video, I'm going to be giving my review on Athena nutrients, specifically the blended line. Quick disclaimer, I don't have tons of experience, so it's not like I've tried every nutrient out there on the market, although I would like to. I just haven't done that yet, so I'm comparing it to what I've tried so far, and as well as I have gotten to run a few different grows out of it with different, strains and different setups and medias and whatnot. So I'm starting to get a little feel for it, and honestly, I'm learning more and more each grow, but I feel like I can give my review of it so far. And I didn't do like any in-depth crazy science project thing. I didn't compare it to this nutrient, that nutrient, all with the same clones, the same environment. Although I do plan to do that type of stuff in the future. I'm actually going to be doing that soon. I'm going to be comparing just, the nutrients I want to use and compare them side by side and then showcasing them to you guys so you can see my results. First thing I want to talk about with Athena is how clean it is. Now, I've only used things like, General Hydroponics. I've used the Flora Nova by them and the Flora Trio. And compared to that, though, my roots would get stained. When I was in DWC, my roots would get stained. It's a reddish, darker red color, and that would wear off onto my roots, so I wouldn't have those nice, pretty roots. And as a new grower and running something like deep water culture, you may mistake the discoloration for like root rot or something like that, and you're trying to problem solve something that isn't a problem, or it's just making it hard for you to identify those problems. But as you learn, you kind of like be able to, like I was able to tell, like, hey, that's staining, hey, that's root rot. Like I'm figuring it out or whatever. But with Athena, when I started running DWC, I could see straight through the bottom of my res. I could see my air pump line, the actual air stones. I'm able to see the bottom of the bucket. So if there were to be anything going on down there, like gunk building up, I'm like, hey, it's time to clean them. They're getting nasty down there. And it's not discoloring my roots. Like it's dye free, so there was no discoloration of the roots. I'm able to see, like, on Instagram, when you see those pictures, like the root porn. I don't know if I can say that P word, but you see those pictures and you got those nice pearly white roots, just nice, right? And then you want that in your garden. And with Athena, I was actually able to achieve that, and I was like, I've never seen my roots this white before. And next up, I want to talk about the stability. To me, it was very stable. In deep water culture, if you run it, a lot of you guys have, and there's a huge difference. Like in the previous stuff, I would have major fluctuations. In DWC, it's gonna happen. With the Athena Blended Line, like there were fluctuations, of course, because as the plants uptake nutrients, things are going to shift around. It's the plant's doing what it needs to do. But for the most part, those numbers didn't, fluctuate as much as they used to. And that could be, my mixing, I'm getting it more dialed in. I was being, more consistent, whatever like that. Maybe I just had the wrong ratios in the past. So, that could have been something right there. I'm not just saying this is the end all be all. That's, there's things that could affect this type of stuff. Another thing is how simple it is. As a new grower, things could you make things complicated. Things could be as complicated as you make them. And as a beginner grower, like me looking at something like Athena, I'm thinking like that's like some pro stuff. So it's like, I don't know, like, I don't want to invest the money just yet because I don't know if I'm going to be good enough to use them. Because I'm seeing like Jungle Boys use that type of stuff. So I'm like, that's like high end. So maybe like I'm gonna mess it up. It ain't quite for me yet, or whatever. But it's fairly simple. They got their different feeding charts and everything like that. So you can see the light schedule, medium schedule, and heavy schedule. And so far, if you follow those things thoroughly, if you just do those, like, it can't get any more simpler than that. I feel like it's just very, cutthroat, like plain and dry. You got all this information. You don't need to ask any questions. Do everything it says, and you should have a good run, and then keep your environment in line, and you'll be good. And I've seen people talk about, like, the number of bottles because, there's two different formulas. You got for veg, you got the grow A and B, and then for bloom, you got the bloom A and bloom B. So overall, you're, buying plus PK. So then you're buying like 3 extra bottles on top of, grow A, grow B, cleanse, CalMag. You don't really have to run the balance unless you're running like RO. So that's 4 bottles right there. And then whenever you switch to bloom, well, you're taking away the grow A and B and adding the bloom A and bloom B, plus the PK. So total, that's 5 bottles, and then you just slap the other 2 bottles on top. So you're like running 7 bottles collectively all together. Maybe 8 bottles you'll have to buy if you're running RO for the balance. But overall, it's it's all in one. Not all in one as in like there's only one bottle. There's multiple bottles, but you don't have to run anything else. So far I haven't had add any other thing from any other company. Like, you got everything all in one right there. So I think that's pretty good. And how long they last. Like the bottles, I got like I was gifted the bottles, right? I'm not sponsored by them. They did, hook me up. So huge shout out to them. And those bottles, I've had them for 7-8 months now going on, and I haven't even got through the first batch. Like, I still got plenty of grows left, and I've grown several times now in DWC and cocoa, and I've got a few different runs under that. 7 months, you got to think about it, and I'm kind of having some multiple grows going on at once, a little perpetual thing. So I've definitely got maybe a handful of grows throughout them, two being like one in DWC and then multiple in cocoa under different lights and stuff like that. So I've gotten the grows in. They have lasted long. That's probably going to last me. I got a bunch of plants right now, and it's definitely going to last me a few more runs. Like, I may make it through halfway through this year before I have to buy anything else. And I'm growing a bunch of different plants. I'm filling up a lot of different gallons, so it does last. It's pretty much going to have lasted over a year. So that's not bad to have to buy that type of thing once a year, or maybe more than once a year, depending on how many times you're growing, how much nutrients you're using. All right, now let's talk about yield. This is like one of the big ones right here. Especially when you're a new grower, like especially like you're looking at the seed bank, you're seeing like 300 grams, 500 grams, all these grams per square feet. You're calculating like, oh man, I got this many square feet. I'm going to produce this much. You're prepping it, I can't speak for everyone, but for myself, that's how it was. Like, I was looking at that numbers, and that's what I was chasing, originally. I picked by the look and by the, how much I was going to produce, and quickly found out, like, I'm not pumping a pound per plant. Like, this is not that. And I found that out, and I had, humbling. I had, when I first started off, I was in the grams. I had one plant that produced like 2, almost 3 grams. So very humbling, very rough start. But, we've progressed since then. We've come a long way, and we got a lot further to go, but we're going to keep going. And like I said, I haven't done any testing yet, but shout out to Tri-State Trichomes, because he has a YouTube channel. I'll have his video linked below in the description, but he actually did a test. He ran the Athena, the blended line, next to the Mills, which Mills is being like partially organic. He ran them next to each other, and the results of very similar. It's not like a huge difference as far as like he tested like the cannabinoids, terpene percentage, THC. He tested all those things, and Athena did average like 2% more on all those things, except like the terpenes. I think terpenes it didn't have down to the decimal, I don't think, but I think it was like 2% and it was like 3%. I don't know if he ran clones or everything. He could have, if he ran from seed, then of course those different phenos, that's going to be a huge factor. But you guys can check that video out. And that's all those things stood, they stood pretty close to each other, but where it separated was the yield. Like I was just talking about the yield. The Athena, I think it was like over 8%. Athena ended 8% more than the Mills. And yeah, 8% is like, it may not sound like much, but you got to think about it. Depending on how many plants you got and what your setup is like, of course, like the bigger the setup and more, it's going to go up. 8% is going to become a lot more and more the more you go up, right? So I think 8% yield is a very decent one, and I want to try this stuff out against other things so I'm able to compare it, which I'm about to do soon. I'm going to be running next to Drip, so we'll see how those compare against each other and see which one, which one I'm rocking with. Everything's going to be the same, and I'm going to run it on multiple cultivars because one of the cultivar could just like one nutrient more than the other, so I'm going to kind of try to even it out as much as I can. All right, next up, let's talk about the quality. Now, for me, like I said, as things, get better, of course, overall, as you expand your knowledge, you're going to learn more, you're going to do more, and then things are just going to get better, right? Well, for quality, I think the motto is like the perfect run. My last run was by far my greatest run yet, as far as like overall, like, health, well-being of the plants, how green they stayed. It could have just been, the cultivar or whatever. I got some better genetics than in the past, but I don't think that's the case. Out of all the beans I popped, it's not like everyone could be bad, right? The grower was bad, and I'm just learning more and more. But at the same time, like when I tried some plants out previously, and then I tried the Athena out, and by far a huge difference. And like I said, I haven't run that same cultivar back under those conditions, so we'll see that type of stuff. But so far, I won't say it's my perfect run, but it's my best run. I don't think I'll ever have a perfect run, but I'm going to strive for it. That's just always going to keep me on the right track and improving. Like the quality, everything, like, overall the grow quality was amazing. Now for like the after, harvest, your smoke and everything like that, smoke was... See, I'm going to be biased in this aspect because I'm always going to be hard on myself, critical, thinking about what I could have did better. But honestly, when I, try this stuff, it could have been the cultivar, but I'm tasting more smoother. It's all smooth. And this isn't just based on me. I had several other people, like over 10 people, tell me like, hey, this is your best stuff yet. Some even said it was the best they've ever tried, which, that could have just been the strain of his, maybe, it was more to their liking, whatever. So they just haven't come across that yet. But also they were saying like, white ashes is a thing. Everybody talks about white ashes, and I've recently stopped flushing. I flushed the last 2 days, but I've been tapering down and then flushing the last 2 days, and then I've not flushed before, and it hasn't been anything bad. I haven't seen anything different in the ashes. The main thing I've been seeing is once I started doing more longer dries and stuff like that, going for like the 2-week dry at the the right conditions, I've been having far better success with having nice ashes, cleaner smoke. So I feel like that's a huge factor, and that actually helped level up my overall quality. That's been like one of the things that's like the hot topic. Like everybody's figuring out more and more that flushing isn't as important as we all thought, and things are the knowledge, the science, and everything like that is coming out, and it's helping drive the grow. It's all about we're all growing together and we're all figuring this out together. We're just learning more and more. Okay, and one thing, if you ever been in like a comment section of any type of post with Athena, you'll probably seen like the cardboard terps, synthetics this, synthetics that, organic is the right way to go, blah blah blah. But like I was saying, the cardboard terps, that you see that one, and for me, it's the best runs I've had so far. So, and a lot of people are saying best smoke, this and that. Not just like my people. Like I'm talking about other people that are using this product and they keep using this product. So, they could be brainwashed. I don't think so. People, if you smoke, you want to smoke the best you can for the most part, I feel like. So if something brings you the best that you've had, why not keep rocking with that? So I don't think that's the case. I think some people were just like, some people haven't even run it yet. They're seeing the next person say this, and they're just kind of running with it. Like people can say all they want, like you got people that like cookies, you got people that don't like cookies, you got people like Jungle Boys, don't like Jungle Boys, everything's all over the place, and a lot of people don't even form their own opinion. They just run what the next person said, and honestly, that's just lame. Like, I don't know, man. Everybody needs to have their own way, figure out what you want to do. That's why I'm going to be running other things, so I can figure out what exactly I like, what works best for me, because what works best for me might not work for you, and vice versa. Like, we could all probably just, have our own lane. There's 1,000 ways to get to like one result. Like, you don't have to go left, you can go right, you can go straight, you can go up, you can go down, diagonal, horizontal, all these different ways that I can say, right? There's so many different routes you can take, and the route you may be taking right now might not be the best one, right? So you may switch it, and then you find out like, whoa, that's a lot better than that route, and then you may progress on to another one. You never know. There's so many different avenues. There's so much we haven't learned about this plant, and we're just going to keep learning. Our knowledge is going to expand, and different things are going to come out. Things are getting debunked, all this bro science and all that out there. If one thing I can stress is just be your own person, man. Just try something out. Don't let somebody else, dictate whether you use something or not, because I could easily sit there and be like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm not going to use it because you said it. But you could just be holding me back. Like, it may be great for me, but just not for you. All right. But I'm still trying other stuff. Like, I'm open to everything. I want to try it all out, because until I try it, how can I talk about it? Yeah, you might not have success with it, but I may. So why not me try it? And I could just tell you, like, hey, it might just not be your thing. It worked for me when that other thing didn't. So just try stuff out, figure it out, form your own opinions. Be your own person, man. Like, just be happy. Don't be that negative person out here bashing somebody else because they don't do it the way you do. You're corny, man. You know what I'm saying? You have no life. Like, you don't even need to be on the internet. Like, stop being weird. And if I was going to say anything negative about Athena, I can't really think of anything bad about it. Like, overall, like I said, my grows have been, a lot better than they have in the past. But the only thing I could say is, I'm not going to lie, I did get some in my eye, and I thought it was over. I honestly was like, damn. So I be putting the glasses on when I go in now. It wasn't like it hurt. It didn't hurt. I didn't feel anything at all. But, like, I just like, man, I'm just counting the time. I'm like, man, I'm just chilling. I'm like, I'm probably going to go blind by the end of the time. I'm, like, getting away from my lights because I'm like, let me put my protective, eyewear on and stuff like that, because I was just, like, counting. I was like, man, I'm probably about to be blind. But nothing happened. I mean, that's not like a con or anything. Like, if I went blind, it would be like, okay, I messed up. But that wasn't the case. But it did teach me to, like, put up glasses on. I don't know if it would make you go blind, but I'm assuming those type of chemicals will not be, good getting in your eye. So that's not really a con. That's just some dumbness on my part. But I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Let me know if you guys want to see me, when I do the comparisons, let me know what you would like to see, what nutrients you're running. Have you tried Athena? Do you like Athena? Just talk to me, man. Let's talk. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Until next time. Peace.